Hello and welcome. I had a text message this morning that took me completely by surprise. Let me know that Iris Simulations were releasing a Grob G115 Echo Tutor T1 this morning. Now, I thought I was pretty much up to date with everything. I knew what was coming out on what simulator. So to have this sprung on me was it was a welcome surprise, if I'm honest, because I spent a lot of time flying the Tutor in FSX, being taught by Royal Air Force pilots on how to fly in it, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I don't have any experience flying the real thing, but yeah, pretty much like the back of my own hand. So went over to the FlightSim Iris Simulations store and found that they only had a tutor for FSX and P3D. I couldn't find it on places like Just Flight or FlightSim Store or places like that. So I had a look on Iris Simulations Facebook page, and there was a comment saying that they're going to have to drop the FSX and P3D variant off the Iris Simulations store so that they can push this one out. So I went back on, and there it was, priced at $19.99 in Australian dollars, which converts to roughly around about £10.40. So I thought, bargain. I'll give it a punt. Enjoyed my time on it in FSX, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it in this version as well. So here I am inside, and as you can tell, inside it's modelled absolutely lovely. Everything's nice and clear. There's no sort of funny textures. It looks pretty worn inside. I mean, it doesn't look like a brand new aircraft, so they've made it look good inside. So yeah, unlike there's a new variant of the Tutor which has the digital instruments for engine and GPS, and also has digital HSI. This has the old-fashioned steam gauges, which I prefer. I'm not a great fan of MFDs or digital instruments of any type. I do prefer even though this is through a computer and it's all digital, I prefer the steam powered gauges. Find them more reliable. So we can look around. So I'm sat in the student seat. The reason for that being is for familiarization on controls. So your control column, you use with your right hand, throttle with your left, which is uniform throughout the Royal Air Force inventory. So it's good to get them on the ground running, basically, instead of sticking them over in that seat and have them configured wrong. So yeah, student here, instructor there. So with the instructor being that side, there's more of the engine and electronic gauges. Over this side, it's more situational awareness of the aircraft, where it's going, angles, things like that, pitch, just stuff that gives you information about how the aircraft is flying. So we'll start over this side. We've got pressure manifold here and fuel flow. And that's just so that the student knows how much fuel they're using and such. Airspeed indicator, artificial horizon, barometric altimeter, which can be adjusted. I've also got to add that majority of the switches and knobs in this aircraft are flickable, clickable, turnable. There's not a lot left to be I think the only area I've found is this. Everything else has got some form of clickability. So yeah, back over here, barometric altimeter, you've got your vertical velocity indicator, your HSI there, your turn slip indicator, and your RPM gauge. Down here you've got your G meter. Over here is your VOR navigation gauge. You've got fuel gauges there, electronics for amps and volts. You've got temperature and pressure there. I'm guessing that says oil. And you've got fuel pressure and engine gas temperature. Then you've got things like the GPS, which isn't like your normal GPS. This just gives you coordinates of where you actually are. Another artificial horizon and another altimeter. Whiskey compass. Then you've got your these are enunciator lights, so you can dim that for day and night. And you've got your radio stack here. So you've got COM1, NAV1, NAV2. That's your transponder, and COM2 is there. You got your circuit breakers, COM mute. These are your dimmer switches for the gauges and panel lighting, and that's to switch on the lights. Your strobe from red to white, nav lights, dimmer map, and landing light, pitot heat, avionics, your magnetos, starter, fuel pump, generator and battery. Then down here we've got flaps, and then you've got your mixture, propeller pitch and your throttle, and then you've got trim wheel and your tank selector, left, right or both, and then finally your fuel cutoff. Canopy's open via this. That slides back quite nicely. Bring it back again. Okay, so that commences the tour inside the aircraft. So we'll jump outside and have a look. Right, so here it is. You can see it's modelled nicely. A lot of detail on the actual airframe itself. All the rivets, bits and pieces like that. All the panel lines. Comes in 7 liveries. The X-Ray November here in black, but it also has a white. You've got Victor Bravo, which is also in white. You've got X-Ray Zulu, which again is in white, and Victor Foxtrot, which is in white but is a Naval Air Squadron airframe. And then you have 2 made up civilian ones, one G-DRGN or Dragon, which has a Dragon livery on it, and then VH-DLB, which when I looked up that registration brought up a Cessna 180G, so another made up serial. But yeah, to say, modelled nicely, got all the detail on there. So with that walk around, very brief for which it was, we'll jump back in and get fired up. Okay, so as I would like to be in the instructor's seat, I'm going to quickly swap that over. So go to camera, pilot, for some reason it's co-pilot, come out of that. So we're now in the instructor seat, and I'll be flying basically like this now without HSI or anything like that. No, I'm not really going to need it. I'm just going to take it up and do some manoeuvres with it and then bring it back. So to get this thing started, your pump, magnetos both, avionics, landing light, nav lights, leave the strobe as it is, don't need those, no. Okay, so we're pretty much good to go. I've recommend putting the parking brake on because once you get this thing started it likes to roll forward on its own. So parking brake's on, and just before we do anything I'll show you the flaps. There's 3 stages. That's your final. Bring them all the way back. There we go. Okay, so we're just going to hit the start switch and we should be good to go. Okay, so yeah, all good. Let's taxi out. Take the parking brake off. Turn this on just to show you. And there we go. Like I said, it's just basically your coordinates and your altitude and the time base. There's not much to it considering it's supposed to be GPS, but there you go. So I'll speed up the taxiing so it doesn't take forever for me to make this video. Okay, so we shall throttle all the way up now. Brakes off, and I'm just going to flick these light. Okay, that's a bit better. Let's see what I'm doing now. Flick on the instrument lights. So you will need to trim back slightly, as it does like to dip its nose until it gets a decent speed up, and then it will climb like anything, so you've got to be wary not to stall it. Okay. Just to show you what the other switch does. It lights up around the panel. Don't particularly need that one at the moment, it's just gauge lights. So I'm going to climb to 5,000, so it's a safe altitude to manoeuvre. Probably going to head towards Rutland Water, which is that body of water over there, which is right next to the old RAF North Luffenham, which is that there, which I believe is now used by the MOD for ballistics, or it used to be. So we'll circle over that and then do a bit of manoeuvring. As you can see, it's very responsive, climbs nicely at about 10 degrees pitch, full throttle. Don't exceed 10 degrees of pitch, otherwise it will start to lose speed and then you'll end up stalling it. Stall speed is around about 50 knots in this, so try and keep that in mind. Basically the bottom of the green over this side. Right, so I'm going to speed up the climb now. Right, so we're coming up to 5,000 feet, and if I turn over I should, well, I would be able to see North Luffenham, but a little bit of cloud. No, that's a problem, as we're above it. So the first thing we're going to do, trim out, keep it nice and level. There we go. And we're going to give it a roll. Very nice, very responsive. And what I'm going to do is going to perform a loop. Now over here you don't want to exceed too far into this orange, so I'm just going to let it go a little bit longer, 150 knots, and we're going to pull up. Just don't want to lose too much speed in the climb up. And there's North Luffenham. So there we go, we've lost 300 feet there in the loop. That's not too bad. Right, so for my final trick I'm going to perform a stall. What should happen, if I keep it 5 degrees nose high, I'm going to throttle right back, and then we should get a little bit of buffeting, then the right wing should dip. So let's do that now. So get down to 5 degrees, keep it at 5 degrees, take the prop pitch right down so we're not biting, and keep it at 5 degrees for as long as possible. We're about to hit the buffet zone. There we go, hitting the buffet, and there goes the right wing. So throttle up, and we're out. So yeah, it's like I say, it's true to the stats pretty much. So what I'm going to do now is head back to Wittering, and land. If you're wondering why I chose Wittering for this video, purely because the Tutor is based there at the moment with 16 Squadron Elementary Flying Train Squad, number 3 Elementary Flying Training School. So yeah, all the Tutor fleet apart from the University Air Squadron airframes are based at Wittering. The Royal Navy have airframes at Barkston Heath and at Yeovilton, one of which is 727 Naval Air Squadron, which Victor Foxtrot livery is included, and obviously some private owners out there. And this airframe is slowly being phased out for the Prefect T1, which is slightly faster, has retractable undercarriage, and looks a lot meaner. So I shall speed up the downwind, and then I'll start talking again on the approach. Okay, I'm coming in a little bit hot. That was unintentional. So it's a matter of getting the speed down so I can put the flaps down. Really want to be stopped before the next taxiway. Just crossing the A1 now. There we go, we're down. Very simple. So yeah, and like I say, if you're used to flying your general aviation aircraft, this might be one you want to consider. If you like your military training aircraft, again, this might be one that you want to consider. It's nice for just getting around on a, get a couple of friends together and have a nice flight cross country. That's simple to use. Also, once multi-crew is implemented on the sim, fingers crossed, this will also become multi-crew if Iris have managed to add that to the airframe, as there are 2 seats, so that'd be pretty good as well. So yeah, for £10.40, totally worth it. Every single penny. Every switch works. It performs how it should. Close enough to the stats. I mean, I've not tried the 6G, -3G that the airframe can actually take. But yeah, other than that, I mean, we've got just over 500 miles range in it, so in most places will be accessible. And yeah, you know, it has a do not exceed speed of around about 200 miles an hour, so it can travel quick. And yeah, it's one of the most complete airframes I've ever actually purchased, without there having to be soon to be future updates for it. So I'm going to park it here. Flaps up. Let's do this in reverse. So mixture down, magnetos off, fuel cut off. Maybe it's not usable. So yeah, open the canopy. Okay, okay, so there we go. Yeah, Grob Tutor, Iris Simulations. Okay, so if you've got this far, thank you for watching. If you haven't, please consider subscribing. And as always, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.